Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to CYC Cup, and this is the final stream of the round of 32. There is another match going on at the same time, but I am not quite sure if it's stream, I don't think it is. Anyway, this match, Maniac23 versus cycl, two rather high seeds. Maniac at seed 11, a very well known British player, and cycl, a bit of the lower seeding, but I think they'll still put up a great fight against Maniac. Both players rolled absolutely amazingly. Maniac 87, cycl 76. I'll be commentating this match to Tolsjit, and commentating with me is Epic Man 2. Say hello.
Hello.
So anyways, yeah, we are back yet again for the final stream of CYC Cup for round of 32, and riding off some other matches that I had to commentate right off the gate, we will have the final match being streamed for this weekend, as the roles will be commenced real quick for Maniac and cycl right here. Seems like so far Maniac will go in for protecting LN2. Makes the most sense. It's pretty much like on textbook, the type of thing he would pretty much be unanimous to protecting, more or less.
That's absolutely true. Maniac being a very well-rounded player. cycl, on the other hand, I see they are pretty much more Rise-based, so they might have some issues getting a good accuracy or ratio on the LN and hybrids of the pool.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I think that's kind of a common expectation for a lot of players going into the round of 32, where pretty much the round of 64 is definitely the more comfortable area of competition, where players don't really need to worry as much about how good the opponent is going to be. Whereas, a lot of people will most often than not, meet their maker when it comes to the second round or of the bracket stage overall. And, cycling into the not the qualifiers, okay, how do you even type this guy's name? That's not an L. cycl1264. I can't seem to type. I can't seem to find his name on the thing. GG's. Maybe he's just not there, so there's no information to garner about this player in particular, but I don't know. I guess that's just me. Okay. So, cycl is fairly decent when it comes to Rice, going off the qualifiers alone. They definitely have what it takes to take upon some of these Rice or LN maps, but they do kind of falter when it comes to some of the more physical picks. Whereas for Maniac, pretty much well-renowned as one of the stronger LN players, and also one of the very few losing SV players in the United Kingdom as well, albeit SV is pretty much an extinct breed of maps at this point, so we're only going to be seeing his LN capabilities, as well as this one being the first pick of all.
Yeah, also recent, a lot of tournaments have stopped pulling SV at all. I think the trend started becoming mainstream when the Mania World Cup also decided to get rid of SV from the pool. But we're also seeing our first pick, and Maniac choosing their Protect as the first pick, losing LN2 for Hurricanic.
Indeed. I think overall it makes the most sense that Hurricanic would serve as the introductory pick for this map pool, for this match in particular, because it's definitely one of those maps that has been played in a plethora of many other matches we've had throughout this weekend as well. I mean, it's pretty much textbook LN density with some broken jump streams, some fairly coordination-centric parenting as well. And seems like cycl's going to be off to a bit of a rough start, kind of tripping over the pedal, as Maniac is going to be the one that remains strong with their introduction. And honestly, with that introduction from cycl alone, that's probably going to put them at a very big disadvantage, because that's a literal second of notes that was literally missed.
Yeah, I don't think cycl was quite prepared to start this song this quickly on. The first few seconds of this map were not played at all. There was no input going on, so this might be either some kind of weird offset lag, or maybe cycl just wasn't exactly ready to start the song. But Maniac, on the other hand, starting off very, very strong, holding absolutely spectacular accuracy, and of course is currently in the lead. cycl, I'm really wondering what happened at the very beginning over there.
I mean, I think the only way, one of the only few answers I can really think of, like putting it into perspective real quick, is perhaps like it could have been maybe a bit of a hardware issue, because I do imagine that's like definitely one of the most common causes for a lot of pretty insane blunders at the very start of a map particular, and especially for this one being LN density oriented, it's definitely no stranger to a lot of these kinds of things happening for many players at the very start, in which it's only going to be punctuated as Cycle is literally recovering very well, but the scoreline is already insanely big for Miniag that is going to be incredibly hard to recover unless he also just lets go for an entire second. But I know he's the type of person to really let go of that keyboard that easily, even on this part.
Is Miniag just hitting all those tricky and difficult patterns like it's absolutely nothing to them, just holding 99.8 above. Actually, Maniac finding the first, actually, I don't know, not the first miss technical, the first like significant drop of this pick. Cycle again missing at the very beginning, but Maniac's accuracy really putting him at the advantage when it comes to the score. And despite this very weird, I mean, what can I say? Cycle did miss the very beginning, because I think they were ready and just held combo throughout the rest of the map. So maybe there was a small chance Cycle would have won that if they actually placed at the very beginning. Miniac dropping at rather late, but it still was a pretty nasty miss with like 150 and 100, dropping some accuracy as well. But Miniac takes those points under protect.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a feeling that although even if it wasn't for Cycle with that rough introduction, it probably would have been hard for them to be able to scrape a victory off this map either way against Miniag, because there was a really stark difference when it comes to the MA alone. An entire difference of 600 perfects, and that's exactly what's the main concern that I have on that kind of theory, although I definitely wouldn't be entirely opposed against it, because again, Cycle definitely does show that they can be fairly consistent, as we've seen throughout the entire map, where they did manage to hold the FC for the longest possible following that miss. And, you know, going into Rice 1 immediately after makes the most sense. They want to try and pick more into their comfort against the likes of Miniag, who's more renowned as being an LN player, although Miniag knows how to play Rice when it's most due as well. So I guess we're gonna have to see how this one plays out. I mean, this is the speed delay kind of pick by default, so fairly tricky to play for 2 minutes and 19 seconds. We're gonna have to see how both players do in this one, I see.
I think this match will go into the dynamic of the very classic Rice vs LN skill sets, where Miniag will just try to stay on the LN and hybrid, while Cycle will just pick Rice over and over again, just trying to get points or like their dominant playstyle.
Yeah, absolutely, as we will pretty much wait for the map to begin. Good luck, have funs are going to be sent out in just a little bit, as Miniag is the first of many to send them out. The map will officially commence. Second map underway with Miniag on the first point. Cycle yet to win anything so far to respond with a victory of their own to ensure that things are equalized, because especially if you're facing against someone like Miniag, for example, you would not want to try and you wouldn't want to try and sacrifice that advantage very early on, because that's the point where it's going to be a lot more punishing, especially. So going into this section, it's going to be fairly equal between the two, but now Cycle finds their footing with about a few hundred points of an advantage, but it's the slimmest amount you can really ask for. So it's going to be fairly negligible if it does come down to any misjudgment coming out from Cycle following from here on out.
That's absolutely true. Maniac finding a few 200 every now and then, just dropping accuracy, maybe not very comfortable on this kind of map. Cycle still holding on very, very strong at 9.87. Already down through the first drop in Cycle. I don't think they have dropped any but judgments out. I think it's just the ratio difference between Cycle and Maniac, and of course, as I said before, the 200 as well. Maniac not as comfortable. The UR bar is a little bit more spread out for Maniac, so there probably is some kind of comfort zone issues over there.
Yeah, I think it's somewhat evident when it comes to being able to try and act maps like this, just because of how fairly consistent this is. There's a lot of burst patterning in this, and it's solely driven by instinction, really. It's really driven on instinct, and that's exactly what Cycle is pretty much riding off of here, as pretty much being able to act a lot of these patterns, it's definitely looking a lot fresher for them than it was over on LN2 as opposed. So I definitely think this can definitely result in a very good point for cycl if they were to take this on, but it's still only 2,000 points. Despite the amount of times Miniegg has been dropping on their MA, there's still a chance that cycl can very easily drop if it does come down to even the smallest instability of a variety of these patterns when it comes to being able to act them well, but there's only really just a quarter of the map to be able to tell that's going to happen. Not much time that either player has to rest. All you need to do is keep on going, but cycl is unfortunately going to take the first miss on the map, and at the worst possible point possible, it's going to completely exasperate the lead that they had accumulated up to this point, and now Miniegg in the driver's seat may as well just run away with it going into the final few seconds where they achieve a 991k.
That was a very, very unfortunate draw for cycl. Look at the ratio difference between that player. cycl's not finding any 200s, just this 150 and one miss. Might have misread the pattern or just messed up some control of the map. But Miniegg getting their first breakpoint on cycl's very first pick. The match momentum is very much on Miniegg's side right now, and Miniegg is the one to pick next, probably staying around the LN range, L1 being banned. So perhaps the LN3 or EX2 will be Miniegg's next pick.
Yeah, it's either one of those, or he could also opt in for one of the hybrids as well if they wanted to buffer for some of these picks a little later, some of the more comfort kind of picks, I want to say. I mean, okay, so EX2 is the one that's open, and both the hybrids are also open. I think I haven't really seen Hybrid 2 being played out at all, if anything. But LN3 will get the pick regardless of which, going to exhaust the LN category right out the gate. I mean, not really much else you can really do if you are the likes of cycl. You've already given out your weakness, kind of. So it's only really down to Miniegg to try and exploit that. But there's a lot of opportunity that cycl has to be able to try and divert that completely, so completely subvert the expectations of many as it comes down to a technical long note map.
Miniegg picking just as I had expected beforehand, just trying to stay into the LN hybrid side of things. This pick does exhaust the LN pool, but there's two hybrids and the EX2 left. EX2 being a bit of a risky pick, considering it's very much... It has a bit more roster going on rather than the other picks, so there might be some misses drawn by Miniegg, even though he's an amazing and renowned LN player, but anything can happen on that kind of map. But I think this is the safer pick of the two.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it really just comes down to the consistency of cycl to really make the difference here, because we've seen from LN2 and that cycl, despite the very disastrous introduction to that map, has managed to keep their consistency recovered almost immediately. Like, as soon as they literally tripped up, they literally just stood up immediately after and just kept going, even if it did result in, you know, having to avoid bandaging what they had, as Miniegg did take a miss of their own. So I think if it does come down to this map, and if Miniegg does take a drop of their own, then it can definitely fall to the favor of cycl if he isn't too careful. But it's really just dependent on if he misses, because it's also just as likely that he can very easily just bat this one out the gate, just simply FC go home right just like that. But at the same time, I mean, most of Fuller's maps are really hard to be able to act properly as well. Even if this is on the lighter side at OD7, there's still a lot that you have to work within your will on a map like this.
Miniegg, just as expected, holding on pretty much flawlessly, 99.86, just dropping ever so slowly, but still no issues whatsoever. cycl still managing to hold the full combo, but struggling on the accuracy and ratio side of things yet again. It's just a repeat of LN2 pretty much. cycl just finding more 300s and 200s throughout this entire song, but Miniegg, first break part, still holding amazing accuracy on the pace to get like I think it's a 995,000 score pace right now.
Yeah, and pretty much for what it looks like for Miniegg, if he is on that pace, and that's going to make matters a lot worse for cycl because they've yet to win anything. They could have definitely won Rice 1 had it been for at least trying to FC the map, but at the same time, this is treading into a field where cycl is way less comfortable on, as opposed to, you know, what we have seen of him thus far 3 maps in. So there's really still a lot that cycl can choose from if it does come down to the post-mortem of this map in particular. There's some grace that Miniegg is bleeding going off some of these staggered releases, but it's fairly minuscule in the way that it's not going to really matter much because, again, Cycle is just reciprocating a lot of these mistakes back to back and is not really allowing anything to really fall in their tracks, unfortunately.
Cycle still well within. I think Cycle still has a chance to win if Miniac finds a pretty nasty drop, but the accuracy difference is quite big and it doesn't look like Miniac will be missing anytime soon. This man just looking way too consistent on this map. 99.86, pretty much holding throughout the entire song, dropping ever so slightly at the ending down to 99.85, but it is, as I said, 995,000. Absolutely amazing score. Cycle finding twice as many 300s and 15 200s, but still managing to hold the full combo, so Miniac just winning purely based on their amazing accuracy.
Indeed. A 995k is definitely one of those scores that you literally leave yourself in such a bad position, and just seeing that your opponent has won with that kind of score in match, especially in early game pools such as this, where the map pool is not even that difficult yet. There's still so many more rounds to anticipate after this one in particular. Obviously, you know, without jumping the gun or anything like that, but Cycle now down by 3 points. They're gonna have to pick into something, and they pick Rise 5. Okay, this was definitely a bit of an expected choice from them. Oh, sorry. I definitely think Rise 5 makes sense as well as Rise 1, similarly, just because of how technical this one is. So I think Cycle would be going into Able to Love to try and bank on some of these less conventional tech parents to try and throw off Miniac. What do you think about that, Sitsalt?
I think it's a very safe pick. It is after all Cycle's Protect actually, so just banking on the Protect as a second pick just maybe grants them some kind of like safety net when it comes to the mental side of things. Cycle probably very comfortable on this map despite its very technical aspect. I think Cycle has a fair chance to win this point actually.
Yeah, indeed. Pretty much gonna be a fair chance by default, as you know, this is gonna be going back to their comfort. However, this is one of the less conventional maps that we have of the entire Rise category by extension. So this does make me ponder about the question of if this is gonna be a reliable map in the long run, or if, you know, Miniac will once again subvert expectations with a full combo that goes until the very end, that at least showcases consistency, because that's exactly the name of the game when it comes to these Rise maps. We've seen it on Rise 1. He may as well try and repeat a similar effect, a butterfly effect of that on Rise 5, because he may as well. Like, he only needs 2 points to be able to win a match, but Cycle still is yet to win many. And they want to be able to try and win as much as they can in such a short amount of time before Miniac can reach such a position in this matchup.
That's absolutely true. Also worth remembering, Cycle did find a miss on the Rise 1 pick, so maybe Cycle really has to focus on holding the combo more, because their ratio on that map was absolutely spectacular. It's just that one miss that actually destroyed their chance of winning that 1 point. And Miniac dropping accuracy at the very beginning, dropping infield 200, also behind in the ratio most likely. Cycle starting off very, very strong, but it's still very early days in the map, so anything can happen yet.
Yeah, exactly. Going into this introductory section of the map, this is fairly chokeable. These very quick flams that you have straight off the bat, that Poppy kind of threw in there, are definitely patterns I've seen many other players being thrown off by immediately upon first glance going into this matchup alone, but somehow neither player has faltered on it besides from Miniac himself, so Cycle is now in the lead just by about 2,000 points. So winning off the ratio game alone and just the general accuracy, things are finally in their favor. Although we were here before and we've seen that choke happen. So I am not sure how long this is going to last, especially when Fatigue is a lot more prone to kicking in with a map that's going to be an entire minute longer than Rise 1 here.
That's absolutely true. 2,000 score of a lead. It is still well within 1 miss range for Miniac. If Cycle finds even 1 miss, Miniac will take the lead, but it still leaves me worried since Rise 1, I mean, we saw the exact same scenario in Rise 1, Cycle leading when it comes to accuracy and then just choking at the very end of the map. So this map is a bit longer, so there's it is a bigger consistency check than the Rise 1, so anything can happen still. Cycle still holding 9.87, Maniac regaining accuracy, so Maniac on the very good recovery, still keeping up close to Cycle when it comes to score.
Exactly, and that's exactly what Maniac would have at least wanted to aim to do. I mean, if it didn't come down to being able to be at 100% perfect accuracy no matter what the causes are, despite, you know, in spite of literally being hit by a meteor shower or anything like that, Cycle at the end of the day is literally going to keep it up for just a little bit going into the final quarter of the map. So at this point, the best decision for Maniac would be to keep on going no matter what, to try and maintain as consistent as possible, and currently is working. 2,000 drop. Cycle is just kind of fluctuating around that margin, and it's going to kind of fumble a little bit on some of these patterns here and there as well, but not enough to drastically change things to a point where it finally goes in the favor of Maniac. Yeah, it's 1,500 points that separates these two. A bit of a buffer from the client as well, because even the client itself does not know what exactly is going to happen with a scoreline this close.
It's a bit of a buffer, but the lead is slowly shrinking, Cycle dropping accuracy ever so slowly, Maniac still gaining actually, so the lead is ever so slowly going to the red side, and this is the final drop of this pick, and both players holding on very, very strong. This is the most important moment of this pick. If Cycle holds the full combo and the accuracy, they will finally receive their first points. Maniac has to hold as well in hopes for Cycle to miss, but it doesn't look like we'll be seeing a miss on this map, and Cycle will be getting the first point on their pick, Rise 5. Wow, it was much closer than I expected. At the very beginning, Cycle was ahead by quite a lot, Cycle holding at about 99.88, while Maniac at 99.6 around, so the lead definitely shrunk quite a lot throughout this entire song, but Cycle still being able to win.
Exactly. There's pretty much a lot more that Cycle has to do to be able to try and take things back into their favor, because at this point, the name of the game for Cycle is going to have to be equalizing with Maniac on the scores that he has won, essentially. So he's only down by 2 points now. So at this point, with Maniac in the driver's seat for this next pick, I would assume he wants to try and stick outside the price category no matter what. At least after he has a little fun with our referee here, as you know, it's going to be down to one of the hybrid picks or EX2 potentially, but hybrid 1 will get the pick. Not going to allow hybrid 2 or EX2 to be picked out just yet, as they still want to stick to regular conventions and make sure they go for some of the more comfortable picks first. That they at least know that they can very easily win if need be, to try and see whether they can make the match point, because that's basically the main goal in Maniac's eyes right now.
Maniac has solid advantage of having the breakpoint that Cycle gave away on Rise 1, so Maniac in a very comfortable position and on their way to actually win without going to tiebreaker if everything goes well.
Indeed. I mean, this is pretty much another short map on the board, so yet again going to revisit some of these really short maps we've been having throughout this map pool. So I definitely would imagine Maniac would want to try and get this one out the way, because they know that it's very well within their advantage. I mean, they know how to release a lot of these shields when it's needed. They know how to release a lot of these fairly stream-oriented parrying as well, while this is fairly comfortable in perspective.
That is true. It is one of the... I'd say both hybrids are rather comfortable outside the hybrid attack. Just because the flowy kind of hybrid and then the jacket kind of hybrid is pretty much consistent, while the techie one just kind of fluctuates between the two. Maniac off to a way better start in the very beginning, holding again amazing accuracy, Cycle struggling ever so slightly. I mean, it is rather fast hybrid, it's 222 BPM, so some more Rise-focused players might struggle on the faster lanes that this one has to offer.
Yeah, exactly, and I would definitely imagine that's the one thing Maniac is looking to try and eke out of Cycle, because they know for a fact that Cycle has shown struggles on a variety of the LN maps we've seen so far. Even if it was still fairly close by just under 10,000 points, they still know that they're very prone to discomfort when it comes to a variety of LNs, and even then it shows in the accuracy, as we can see. An entire 0.50% of a difference that separates these two right now. It's only 0.45% in terms of accuracy that really separates these two, so if anything, it's still a fairly negligible lead by only about 6,000 points being pushed to about. So if it does come down to cycl FCing, then it's going to have to come down to Miniag missing on a lot of these maps, or a lot of these patterns in which, yes, there's potential for that, but it's going to have to happen within this final third map, in which it's going to have to happen as early as possible for cycl to squeeze as much of the juice of any miss that they can, but the disadvantages are going to have to come now.
It's absolutely true. cycl holding full combo, actually gaining accuracy all the way up to 947 and still gaining. So cycl probably used to the different nature of the hybrid, but the lead still is at 9,000 points. It is very difficult to come back from. Miniag has to drop quite significantly if cycl wants a chance at the breakpoint on this map. But what's really important is that cycl is actually holding full combos throughout like all the LN maps we have seen, well, outside of the unfortunate beginning of LN2, but holding amazing combos on all of them. But Miniag's accuracy and ratio is just completely unbeaten by cycl, and another point will go to Miniag.
An entire 10,000 points to really set in stone the victor of this map alone. Miniag now in the driver's seat of this match alone. They very well have the authority to end this match off with only 1 point to really snag. So cycl really just, I mean, cycl has a knack for a lot of these Rice maps, as we have been seeing. So I definitely would assume that they want to revisit one of those, maybe going for something like Rice 4, for example, which I definitely would be led to assume Miniag would definitely struggle with. But no, Rice 3 will be the next option, and is Rice 4 even available? Now, okay, now it's just crossing my mind again. Sorry, I feel kind of
Rice
stupid
4
now.
is available, EX1 was banned, so the difficult Rice is gone from the vault, but the base Rice vault is here, still here, so cycl
Right.
choosing the Korjak pick.
Okay. I was about to say, like, I definitely felt that Rice 4 would have been a bit of a better option. Like, yes, in perspective, it is riskier just because the accuracy required for that one's going to be a lot stricter than Nekopar, for example, where it's like, you're controlling more physical patterns that are really inconsistent in terms of pacing, where it's very abrasive back-to-back, whereas for Nekopar, it's essentially like, you're just playing a very consistent pattern with not really much deterioration from its original source for 2.5 minutes. And I know for a fact that Miniag is a very, very consistent player when it comes to these kinds of maps. So this is exactly why I feel some concern going into Rice 3, because yes, this is the type of comfort pick that many players have been going to, but it's basically everyone's comfort pick, and that's the issue, because it's really just... It's like you're literally going to the map and it's literally just the aisle full of Buzz Lightyears. It's literally like everyone's so good at this thing that it's like it's literally just indistinguishable on how good people can be on a map like this when it comes to racial alone.
Yeah, Korjak, as I said many times before, is a very, very tricky pick. Considering it's very easy to choke, and the other player also has like a massive chance to get like amazing ratio on. Korjak being like a very stable pick when it comes to the speed of the patterns. So getting good ratio on those kinds of maps is rather simple. It's just like a jump stream where it's just very consistent and rather simple, but it is a bit higher when it comes to physicality. So this map also being on the longer side, there might be some stamina issues going on. Also consistency. cycl did find some misses on the Rice map, so this could be very tricky for cycl to win. Miniag being very, very consistent, just missing one time on the LN2, so we might see what happens next.
Yeah, and what happens next is going to have to happen now, as we are starting off with Rice 3, the potential final pick for the winners bracket run of cycl here, in which if it does come down to them not winning off this map, then they'll unfortunately be knocked down into the loser bracket while Miniag proceeds. That's exactly the scenario that they want to avoid here. They want to try and at least damage control when it comes to a variety of jacks. They're going to have to utilize the roll consistency that is required of some of these kind of old anchor transitions to be able to try and bring themselves into an advantage. But at the same time, the forefront of the focus is literally on the middle than anything. It's not on both players, but the middle, because both players are literally so good that there's no difference whatsoever. the biggest score lead we can see is literally 500 points in the favor of Mini Egg, and it goes back to the favor of Cycle, as we can see each time. The story repeats once again.
Yeah, that is true. Both players holding amazing ratio. They were pretty much tied for a long time, but cycl, I think, found 1-200. I really like their score right now. I mean, their score is 1-200, like amazing ratio, still at 99.94, but Miniac still holding the double as really puts him in the lead right now.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to set him apart from the competition that he has to face here, which is also just treading on the same tracks as he is. Basically driving the same car, except there's 2 wheels for some reason. Who exactly has the advantage here when it's basically nobody, and which Mini Egg literally has the score, but only by a few hundred. If you compare it to like any other map that we've seen so far, it's literally the smallest amount you could have even asked for, and that's exactly the problem, because this is exactly what's the issue. It keeps switching between both these players, and going into this next drop, the broken core check is done, but even the yellow 300s literally just feel like a miss. As it currently stands, Miniac still has a small advantage, but we see even more glimpses of hope in the favor of Cycle going into the final core, and this is the point where it matters the most, because this is where the nerves are going to really start kicking out as well. It's literally like if you were pregnant and and your baby just kicks right for your belly button and opens it. That's literally how this shit feels, bro.
That's a very interesting comparison, but both players pretty much tied. It's insanely close. Cycle still 1-200 behind. Miniac dropping just a tiny bit of ratio. This is so close.
I just ran out of words to describe this. 107!
107 points is 1-200. The very beginning of this map made Cycle lose this point. This is such a close map. It's actually insane.
Bro, where'd that one grade from Cycle even come from? Are you serious? What? Nah, no. The disrespect, bro. Nah, bro, that's... Alright,
That was
okay.
insanely close. Cycle slowly making a comeback at the very end. Miniac dropping some ratio, but it is not enough. That 1-200 dug the hole for the coffin.
Exactly. Really unfortunate for the favor Cycle, as Miniac will be the one winning all by the skin of their teeth on this map alone. Had it been for just only that one grade alone, that was exactly what decided this entire map alone and brought Miniac to victory here for the last time, as we finally finish off the round of 32 weekend and wrap it off in the favor of the round 16 weekend, which we will have in the coming week, as far as I'm aware. So once again, hats off to both these players. They've been playing out of their minds. I mean, there was definitely a lot of potential that Cycle had to showcase on the Rise category, but unfortunately, just really hard to be able to showcase that when you have someone like Miniac in the lobby with you. So, oh, they're playing for Rise. Okay, you're kidding me. Oh wait, no, they're going. This is the other match. What the hell?
Yeah, there's 2 matches going on at the same time. This is the other one. It is between Babil and lightspeedvault. Both players actually choosing the visual comfort mods. Babil the FL and lightspeed HD. I have actually never seen these two next to each other. It's very surprising. But it seems like lightspeed is in a big advantage right now.
It's like these two players literally just don't want us to see what exactly they're hitting so that they can hide information from their future opponents, which I guess we can say the Babil missed, but I'm not sure how exactly. I mean, maybe this helps for giving a little bit of more visuals, but I think at this point Babil just kind of struggles with these jump stream patterns overall, as opposed to lightspeedvault, who's literally just vaulting these lightspeed patterns like it's nothing.
Yeah, lightspeedvault looking just a bit more consistent on this map of high accuracy. 18,000 points in favor of lightspeedvault. It looks like they will be taking this point right now on the stamina pick. And it is currently 1-2-3 for lightspeedvault, so you 1-4 after this song concludes.
Indeed, a fairly easy point for Lightspeed on this one, but I think that's only just because they were just kind of fooling around on this map alone. So I'm not entirely sure what exactly would have been the score for this map had it been for, you know, maybe neither of these visual mods. But if we are to take a gander at everything else that's happened so far, Okay, everything is pretty much marginalized by a large amount. 63,000 points won for Rise 5 in the favor of lightspeedvault, while Babil was literally running on Flashlight, and then run a Flashlight again, and somehow won on that 4 Ellen won by only just under 9,000 points. And then, yeah, I guess everything else from there is pretty much straightforward. Bleed Blood won by 44,000. Hurricanic LN2 won by 14,000. We've already seen Rise 2. We are going to be seeing the next map, in which it's really just 4 maps. It's only really 1 map left for lightspeedvault to be able to win if they want to try and continue on in this tournament.
Yeah, this on the other hand is a very interesting match actually. I've never seen both visual mods be played in one match in one tournament actually. I don't think I know any 4K Flashlight players actually.
I mean, there is actually a big number of them, especially since there was definitely a bigger number of them back in the older days, but I think for the most part nowadays, a lot of players just kind of know how to play Flashlight and all these other visual mods like it's kind of integrated into their DNA. I mean, there was a turn that was about utilizing these Flashlight mods, for example, which definitely was a thing, and, you know, there was some competition to be witnessed over there as well only a few months ago, whereas I guess it's not really as much of a convention in turns nowadays as much as it originally used to be, unless it's for specifically helping the vision of one player to be able to actually look at the note field, because, you know, I mean, sometimes the playfield can be distracted with the amount of notes you really need to focus on, depending on what scroll speed you use, and, you know, focusing on the match itself now, LM3 is going to be the potential final pick from lightspeedvault, as it looks like, coming from Babil.
And it seems Babil is rolling for the visual mod? Is that what I'm seeing? Are both players rolling for the visual mods? What is happening? What?
Dude, so they're doing this on purpose. Okay. That's crazy.
That is one... I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you heard my ringtone. I'm very sorry. That is one interesting match. I don't think I have ever seen this happen, actually. Where the players just roll for the visual mods. So it seems... If I saw correctly, Lightspeed will be choosing Flashlight now? I didn't quite catch what roll 1 was, so I'm not quite sure, but it is very, very interesting to see. It's also worth noting that this is the loser's bracket match, so the loser of this will be eliminated, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Good that you know that out, because somehow I completely forgot to point that out as much as... Alright, so... I mean, there's still a lot of matches that we have to look forward to. I mean, going off some of the previous things we've seen, it seems like following off the result of the previous match we were commentating, Maniac is going to be advancing to face Angela over in the winner's bracket for round 60, whereas Cycle will be moving down into the loser's bracket to face against Cluefly in the loser's bracket for round 16. And as per conditionals, they will have to face between me, DJ Gon, and Zerk XU as well, whereas this one is the final match that has to happen. Whoever wins is going to have to face Hoshiteru, whereas whoever loses, obviously, gets eliminated. In which, you know, Babil, literally with their backs against the wall. Lightspeedvault has literally been coming in like a wrecking ball throughout the entire match so far. They do not want to lose against this guy whatsoever. And allow... I mean, they want to be able to pull off the opposite one way or another, but at this point, things are looking pretty slim while they're kind of just goofing around with these visual mods.
Yeah, I don't think lightspeedvault is a fan of Flashlight, just based on what's happening right now. Babil pulling on very well on the hidden mod. Yeah, just hitting very, very early when it comes to lightspeedvault. What is happening?
Dude, of course they're doing this. Dear God.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I guess this is a point lost. I mean, what even am I to say when they're not even the ones taking this match seriously anymore? I mean...
I wonder if they, like, just made it up when the match started, or, like, they're, like, friends, and they, like, say, like, I don't know how to say this in English, but they just talked this over, like, beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how I would assume a lot of these kind of go anyways when it comes to matchups, because I mean, the tournament community is fairly diverse. I mean, in a sense, there's a lot of players that pretty much are here for the love of the game rather than to, rather than being out for blood as some other players in this tournament are. But these two are just like vibing. They're just like messing around, seeing who can get the best score in visual mods. And Babil is pretty much getting the better end of the stick with that in hand. I mean, 150,000 points and continually increasing. Just because lightspeedvault is unable to read through the flashlight at all. I mean, he couldn't even ask for anything better at this point.
I mean, yeah, lightspeedvault even holding in 90% right now with the flashlight mod. I don't think they have much or any experience playing with that mod. Babil, on the other hand, holding pretty well when it comes to the hidden mod, actually. Still, there's a very, very high score, 98.8 so far. And I don't think they have missed yet.
Yeah, no, he has. Babil has not missed whatsoever so far, and we're literally going into the end of the map. I mean, they still have the FC all together, but it's literally, I mean, even if it is down under 99% in terms of accuracy, it's still a strong score that is at least spelling that there is some potential to be seen.
Well, yeah, Babil takes this point. Well, what am I supposed to say? Quite easily. 1,000 less 200, I guess.
I think at this, I mean, to be fair, Babil got really lucky with the mod that they got, because at least they are fairly comfortable actually rating this as opposed to lightspeedvault, who's like, I don't think this guy is even used to selective vision at all. So it's like,
Yeah, there is a
yeah.
chance.
Dude,
Let's see if they also roll for the pick.
Bro, I swear if they end up rolling for the pick, that's gonna be absolutely insane. They're just continuing to vibe over the ISD. That's crazy.
Yeah, first of all, roll pick. Second of all, roll keybinds. Third of all, roll skin. And then lastly, roll the visual mod.
I've seen this somewhere before. I know how exactly that goes. And there's literally only a few maps they can really do that on. There's only 4 maps I'm seeing they can really do it on. It's between 1 Rice, 1 EX pick, and then 2 hybrids, because everything else has already been played, and then there's 2 maps that have been banned as per usual. So, dude, I swear, whoever... I have no idea what's even going to come out of this match anymore if they're just not even taking this seriously. I mean, are they just going to, like, fumble their way to tiebreaker or something? Like, there's just no way that's going to be the case, right? Oh, they're going EX2. They're not rolling.
Yeah, they're not rolling for the picks. Maybe it's for the better. Actually, I have no idea. Let's see if they roll for the visual mod again. Or maybe they will take them if they are doing it.
Oh god. Babil rolled a 2.
I think that's fade-in, right?
Oh, I think it is fade-in! Oh no!
Oh no.
Oh, this guy!
So we will be seeing some very flowing lane cover.
This guy may be a little cooked.
Yeah, there is there is a chance. What about Lightspeed? Let's see if they also roll.
I mean, we're gonna have to see. Wait, is Lightspeed seriously also playing Flashlight as well? Oh no, you're kidding me.
Oh.
Dude. Yeah, we live in a society, alright? This is certainly a situation.
I did not expect to come out of a match just to see this.
I don't think any of us did. I honestly, literally nothing can describe this match better than lightspeedvault here in the IRC. This is a very serious match that we're having here. Literally no frills whatsoever. Literally everyone is dead serious. Babil is eating cereal with no milk. And lightspeedvault is just like, I have no idea what this guy is doing.
Yeah, low-key, I feel like those are like more focused on the game than the Mania World Cup finalists, you know? Like, this is like much more important than... Like, what even is the Mania World Cup, man? I don't even know that tournament. I mean, Kat Yonka's like the biggest one of them all. So, of course, this is a very important match, and those players, oh my god.
It is my god, Babil is handicapped! Babil is going to be handicapped so bad on this.
But look at
Because
lightspeed scroll speed. They forgot to change it after the flashlight.
Oh, bro.
No.
Oh, you're kidding me! Oh my god! The trend lives on. The trend lives on, mate. Oh, dick.
They forgot to change the scroll speed. So I think they're stuck with like, I don't know, this looks like 17 or 18 or something like that.
No, it's got to be 18 because like that's probably like one of the worst scroll speeds you can even use for like reading a map like this. I mean, it's literally a map by stereotype. They have a lot of Ellen maps that are literally really difficult to really work your way through, and if you play them on a scroll speed that's very slow, like, bro, stop LARPing Interlizer at this point. You literally have no idea what you're in for. This map is gen hell, especially on such a slow scroll speed, and lightspeedvault is... Yep, this guy's gone.
Yeah, but look at Babil though, holding on very strong on both visual mods. They kind of flashlight both getting about like 98%.
Yeah.
So there's a chance Babil has some kind of experience playing with those two mods. Lightspeed, I mean, yeah, what can you do when you just play on like 17 scroll speed? Like, what really can you do? Oh! Huh?
Huh?
Huh? What's happening to Babil's screen? We can see the notes!
Oh, we can finally see. We can actually see what he's doing. Awesome. All right.
Well, I didn't know you could do that. On stream at least.
It is an option for some streams, I guess. I mean, as far as I've been around, I've pretty much seen like a bunch of streamers like try and increase the transparency on the visual mods just so we can actually see what the player is actually hitting. I mean, I guess it's a lot different on their point of view because of the fact that, you know, Babil is literally a flashlight main, as we are able to see, but lightspeedvault is clearly not. They're like struggling a lot with anything that's way out their main comfort zone.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for lightspeedvault, so Babil will probably just receive this free breakpoints. Still holding a full combo, very respectable score actually. 98.7 on EX2 full combo, that's actually insane, but... Lightspeed. This poor man forgot about the scroll speed after flashlight.
Yeah. That's so unfortunate. I mean, at this point, Babil is literally like able to win this so easily. I mean, it's literally over 200. It's going to 300,000 points right now, so we're pretty much at the point where Babil is very easily able to win this if it does come down to lightspeedvault just continually dropping, and yeah, we're already past 300,000. Awesome.
Yeah, quite dominant win for Babil right now. Players being able to see, at least I hope Babil can see the score with the flashlight mod. I'm not quite sure actually. But Lightspeed definitely sees this amazing 87% B rank right now.
Indeed. I mean, there really isn't anything else I can say about this map in particular. I mean, Babil somehow still has almost an FC on this, like even with flashlight on. It's just that this is a very objective win for them because lightspeedvault has literally like just lost like 10 times tenfold literally on this map alone. 951k is going to be the score that Babil gets, and that's almost 400,000 points ahead of the equation. There's no way this is going to tiebreaker with these visual mods, right? I hope it isn't the case.
I mean, if Babil wins the next point, it is going to tiebreaker.
Exactly. Oh my god, dude.
So Lightspeed already has to lock in on the scroll speed, especially if they want a chance of avoiding the tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm. And that chance of avoid the tiebreaker is literally gonna have to be now because lightspeedvault can still very easily take this by storm. It just has to be like, it's just that's gonna have to come down to only 3 maps on the board, and it's literally just between 1 Rice and 2 Hybrids as the final Ellen map is gone.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Is that a roll for the pick? Oh my god.
Oh no. Dude.
Babil rolling Hybrid 1. Honestly, I respect that. I respect rolling for the visual mods and the map. I mean, I've seen rolling maps before. I actually have done that before, but
Yeah.
I was like rolling between the pigs and now I'm comfortable on. No, I killed the whole pool.
Yeah, there's a lot of like players that usually do that when it comes to tournament matches, and honestly, it makes sense. It does eliminate the sole concept of being indecisive when it comes to picking a map alone. Okay, I need to sneeze. Wait. Oh god. Okay, you guys did not hear it on the stream. I didn't want to like present that in a place where I can't. Anyways, all right, let's see. Are they gonna be playing with visual mods this time?
Let's see if lightspeed will also fix their scroll speed.
I mean, that has to happen, surely, right? I mean, even the referee has told them to try and fix their scroll speed, so lightspeed probably is gonna take that into account, hopefully. And oh, they're going for the mods again. I see the they got the flashlight.
Yeah, I think 1 was flashlight, 2 was fade in, and 3 was hidden. If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah,
Babil rolling flashlight. I mean, we've seen Babil perform greatly on flashlight. Lightspeed, not so much. Let's see if Lightspeed also chooses the visual mod.
I mean, at this point, if you're Lightspeed, it depends on what you even want to do with this match alone, because it's either that you just want to end things straight up, or you just want to continue having your own fun, and which, I mean, for this matchup alone, it pretty much has been very reliant on both players just kind of messing about, which is why we have the score that we have at the moment, but there comes a point where you're going to have to, like, maybe snap back to reality and realize the situation you're in, but no, it seems this guy is wearing Faded. What the heck?
Yeah, Babil choosing the hidden mod, Lightspeed, no visual mod, at last. And you can really see how much more comfortable Lightspeed is without any visual mods. Babil holding about the same action as the maps before, just about the high 98%. Lightspeed just a tiny bit ahead.
Indeed, yeah. Just a bit ahead by about 6,000 points, as we can see on the board. And pretty much for lightspeedvault, this is a really straightforward point lead for them, if anything. And definitely a fairly dominant one, as that is very early to the map as well. So if it does come down to a lot of drops, they still have a bunch of safety nets to try and secure themselves with if they want to just win this match outright, because there isn't really any options left. This is the final match that we have at all for this very random first weekend. So if lightspeedvault wins this, then we are basically done. Finally, we can finally all go to bed, I guess.
Babil finding the first drop of this map. Lightspeedvault at the advantage, trying their best to avoid the tiebreaker and potentially rolling another visual mod.
Exactly, that's the one thing lightspeedvault needs to really try and capitalize off of, because Babil is still doing really good, but the fact that there's a stark contrast between performances just going off this map alone and how difficult this is to really read through if you are on hidden, for example, is really setting the two apart, as lightspeedvault is basically in the driver's seat finally. An entire 1% of accuracy separates these two, as Lightspeed is ahead of the game by 40,000 points and probably gonna run away with that lead as well. There's still just under a quarter of the map left, and he can very easily capitalize off that if they so choose to.
Yeah, it seems Lightspeedvault at a massive advantage, 45,000 points. There's not enough time for Babil to make a comeback. And it looks like Lightspeed will be taking this point and this match at the same time with an amazing full combo on the Hybrid 1.
Indeed. Lightspeedvault literally slicing the ratio of Babil in an entire half and basically getting minimal misjudgments on that note as well. Going to be taking this match 5-3, avoiding the tiebreaker when it pretty much could have happened. It had been to some had it been due to some more tomfoolery, but unfortunately for the favor of Babil, their fun is over as they are officially knocked out of the Cat Yum Cup once and for all. this is the first round of the losers matches after all, so in a term, they still did pretty good throughout this entire tournament as is, whereas for lightspeedvault, commiserations to them, they will be proceeding on with the match that has been mentioned before and going into the dawn of the losers conditionals, which is definitely going to be quite interesting to watch with all the players that we have down here in the losers bracket, because holy damn, these are some names that are fighting each other to just try and see where they can stay in the tournament for even a little bit longer.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting matches going on in the losers bracket. But as for Lightspeed, they'll be facing Hoshiteru in the next round. A very, very scary player nevertheless. But I think it's time to end the stream. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there isn't really much else that I have to say besides the fact that pretty much every match in Round of 32 is done now with that final match in place and finally consolidated into one result. We can now await the Round 16 map pool showcase, which hopefully should happen tomorrow. The time is to be announced as per usual, but I think as soon as it's figured out, we will be able to let you all know in the main Discord server as per usual protocol. So yeah, once again, I don't really have anything else to add on. Lightspeedvault going to be proceeding into the round 60, and the final player to advance as well on top of that, coming from the losers bracket and having to face even more opponents in this area. There's still a lot more that we can go for. So anyways, yeah. I think that does it for all and what meets it's all have to say for this match in particular. I've been Epic Man 2, joined by Sisaj in the commentary booth, and we'll catch you all later on for the Round 16 map pool showcase. Be there, be square tomorrow, and thank you all so much for tuning in once again to quite the match run we've had. So yeah, thanks and see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.